What's up everybody? In this video we're going to break down how wholesaling real estate works in 5 easy steps. I don't want to overwhelm you, but I want to make sure that you get a lot of value. So make sure you check all the links in the description below so you can download some free and other resources and maybe join our community as well and do deals together, okay? So the 5 key steps of wholesaling real estate are quite simple. I'm just gonna break them down right here with you. But at any point, I just don't want you to feel overwhelmed. You see, in any supply chain, no different in real estate, there are wholesale, right, suppliers that are selling things at wholesale. Let's take this Expo dry erase marker. This company, they probably buy this little cap at wholesale prices because they're buying in bulk, and then they're putting everything together to sell it to a retail customer as a one-off. With real estate wholesaling, what we're doing is we're marketing directly to motivated sellers or finding properties that are heavily discounted, and we're getting them under contract. And what that allows us to do is have equitable interest on that property. That is equitable interest, is an actual paper that we can now sell. We can sell the rights of our contract, okay? What that means is that you now have an asset that you can trade, okay? Now maybe you don't have to buy 100 houses, maybe you can just contract one property, but that one property may be worth to somebody else at a $20,000 market, $10,000 market, even $50,000 market. It just depends on how good of a discount you get, all right? And so the first step is finding or getting a discounted property. Why do I say finding or getting? Well, typically people start off with calling for sale by owners, for rent by owners, maybe downloading some lists, foreclosure lists, and calling them. But you can also attract those sellers to come to you, okay? So that's why I say find and get. We rather attract motivated sellers coming to us versus us having to chase them or having to talk with, third-party people, agents, stuff like that, because we find that our best deals are done that way. But essentially you want to get a discounted property, okay? The second piece is contracting with an assignable clause. So what does that mean, assignable clause? Well, when you put your buyer name in the contract, you want to say and or assigns, okay? You can also state ISAOA, okay, which means it's successors and or assignees, okay? And so when you do that, that contract becomes assignable. Now, depending on the state and the territory that you're at, there may be other disclosures that are required, or you may need to actually double close on the property. But again, do not get overwhelmed. There's different ways to skin a cat here. But the idea is now that you have a property under contract, right? Contract the property with an assignable clause, you can then assign that property that equitable interest. The next step is going to be for you to get a buyer, okay? And really the key on getting a buyer for that discounted property is that you're able to present it in a way that you can answer one key question. That one key question is, how does your buyer make money? Okay, it's probably going to be an investor, it's probably a fixer-upper. So if it's a landlord, you want to be able to tell them, hey, you're going to be able to cash flow this amount, or you should be able to cash flow this amount after putting X amount of repairs, right? So what you want to do is you want to pre-evaluate these properties for your end investor cash buyers. If it's a fix and flipper, you have to buy it at a big enough discount that takes account their purchase price, their rehab, their closing costs, their selling costs, their holding costs, so that they can actually make revenue, make profit, okay? And so that's often a mistake that I see with new real estate investors and wholesalers. They just get properties under contract thinking that they actually have a deal. But if you cannot articulate what is the profit margin for a certain exit strategy, then I want you to really take that as homework and see about, or maybe watch some of our next videos where we explain how deals are evaluated, okay? So with that said, you want to find or get a discounted property. You get that property under contract. Keep in mind, you can do this with only $10 of earnest money. I mean, it's not like you have to have all the resources to actually close on the property. But the idea is that you get the property under contract. You then are able to articulate for that buyer what profit they can do. And then you sign assignment of contracts. That's assignable, but it should really be assignment of contract, okay? Of contract. With that said, with the assignment of contract, all it says is me, I am giving up my rights or my equitable interest to John Doe investor who's going to take over this contract and is going to close, and here are the terms. And typically the end buyer has to pay all normal closing costs. They buy it as is. And they put, you want to get a significant earnest money deposit, anywhere between $1,000 to $10,000 is typically what we see in the marketplace. And you want to get proof of funds of that end buyer, okay? And then you close. So you send out the purchase and sales agreement to the title company with your seller, right? Then you send out the assignment of contract, right, with the cash buyer, and you are able to get paid an assignment fee, right? That's how you get paid, an assignment fee, okay? And this is the most basic, example of real estate wholesaling, but all it really is you're finding a property that needs a lot of work, and it could be that the property needs work, or it could be that the person is going through a situation where, they're in pain, they need to sell the house, need to sell this house, and you're helping them because you're saying, hey, I think, this property in its current shape, its current condition, it's worth to us about, $50,000 for us and our funding partners. And then what you can do is then present this deal. Hey, let's say that you present this deal at $60,000, right? And you just made $10K assignment fee, okay? So that's it, anyways. So $10,000 assignment fee, that's just an example, right? So do not overcomplicate it. Now that you know the concept of how real estate wholesaling works, all you need to figure out is, okay, what is the best way for me to get this kind of property? Can I get a contract with an assignable clause? How do I get a buyer, landlord buyer? You can go to affordable housing, Section 8 type of websites for rent by owners. Maybe look out for finish rehab properties as well. And then, getting that assignment of contract, signed up is crucial. So I hope that helps. Keep in mind that there's more ways to go and do this, but this is the most simple way of the house.